What moved me is the fact that as a nurse, you and your wife were able to buy a house worth $1 million.
Yeah.
I was like, wow. I don't
Yeah.
think any nurse in the UK can do that on their nurse's salary. Honestly, the very first day I saw a video of yours, I ordered this book.
No way.
I tell you, and what is your net worth now?
Okay, my net worth is six.
Nursing in the UK is a joke. Like, said it before. Hey, stop that. So this video is proudly sponsored by Lemonade Finance. Lemonade Finance is a money transfer app that allows you to send money from the UK, Canada, and the US. Yes, so all my friends in the US now, you can actually download Lemonade Finance using the link in the description to send money to 10 different African countries at no fee at all. You can send money to Ghana, you can send money to Nigeria, to Tanzania, to Uganda, to Rwanda, to Kenya, to Benin, Ivory Coast at no transfer charge. As a matter of fact, if you send money using the referral code Nanelle, you get 10% of the money you're transferring back into your account. So if you send £100, you get £10 back. If you send £200, you get £20 back, but it's capped at £50. Okay, so download Lemonade Finance with the link in the description. Send money now using Lemonade Finance and let me know what you think. No transfer charge and the money goes instantly. It's super convenient and very, very reliable. Okay, so thank you, Lemonade Finance, for sponsoring today's video. Guys, today we're gonna hear American accent on the channel. I'm taking you all the way to California, guys. It's a privilege to have you here, Jason. It's such a huge privilege. I've been wanting you on the channel for like almost a year now. And I'm so happy that, because I sent you a DM on Instagram like somewhere early this year, very early this year. I'm so happy that you finally been able to make it. So, guys, this is Jason. He has a channel called Nurses to Riches on YouTube. The very first day I saw a video of yours, I ordered this book.
No way.
I tell you, the very first day I watched your video, I'm like, nah, I need to go to the US. Like, I need to take my journey serious. So I ordered this book. Then I paid for Archer review questions, like question bank to help me prepare. Because when I saw the figures you were mentioning, I'm like, nursing in the UK is a joke. Like, I called my friends, Danielle and Susie. I've already interviewed them. I told them about your channel. They went to watch your videos. Like, I was so inspired by your videos. And anytime I watch your videos, it's like I want to move to the US like the next day.
Wow.
And then you are doing so well in the channel. I feel like you are gonna blow so soon. Like,
I don't know.
The channel deserves way more attention than it's getting.
Really?
Like,
you think so?
Yeah,
I don't know.
You're doing so well. So, guys, this is Jason. Like I said, he has a YouTube channel called Nurses to Riches, where he talks about nursing, how much nurses make, how much he makes. He's literally like just transparent on his channel. His interviews, so many nurses are doing so well in terms of, finances and all that. And he works for one of the highest paying hospitals in the US in California. Yeah. And today we're going to talk about everything. His net worth.
I'm an open book.
What moved me is the fact that as a nurse, you and your wife were able to buy a house worth $1 million.
Yeah.
I was like, wow. I don't think any nurse in the UK can do that on their nurse's salary, honestly.
That's pretty sad if you really think about it.
Yes. I know you watch my videos. Sometimes I see your comments like, yay. When you watch my videos and you hear me say that, let's say my highest salary as a nurse in the UK, in my 4 years of being in the UK is, let's say, $3,500, which is just about 4,000 something dollars. What comes to your mind? Like, do you think nursing in the UK is a joke? Like, when you look at our salary?
Okay. So Nanelle, Monica, my wife, she has a relative who is a nurse in the UK. And we had a long conversation with her about how much she earns, what's it like over there. And after I left the UK and I came back home, I did some research and I found out like the average UK nurse earns about 40,000 US dollars. So it's like 35,000 pounds per year. That's the median salary. And then the average cost or the median cost of a home over there is something like, I think 328,000 US dollars, something like that. So you would need about 8 times your annual salary just to be able to afford a home over there. Whereas here in the US, the median salary is something like 76,000, just about 76,000 US dollars. And that's across every state. If you just get the median salary across every single state. So there's 50 states. And then the median home price is something like 400,000, I believe. Not a little less than 400,000. Basically, you would need 5 times your annual salary here in the US to be able to afford a home. And then that doesn't even take into account the fact that fuel cost is more expensive in the UK. The cost of products and goods are more expensive in the UK than they are in the US. So at the end of the day, you have a lot less money in your bank account in the UK as a nurse than you do in the US. And that's why when I think about would I ever move to the UK as a nurse, I don't think so. I would never. I mean, I visited the UK and I love it, but I would never move there to work as a nurse.
Don't worry, you don't have to come because we are all moving there. Honestly, we are all moving there. America is one of the best places for nurses, honestly.
Yeah, well, if you think about it like this, now you can target an even larger market because you're an UK nurse moving to the US and you can document your progress and the process that it took you. When I first became a nurse, the reason why I created the channel is because I had nobody to give me this information.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's so many new nurses or students that are getting into nursing right now that have no idea what their future might look like. And I just want to make it a little bit easier for them. And we'll talk about this a little bit more later on, but that's just part of the reason why I started the channel.
And you show your pay slips, you show your net worth, you show everything. You're like really transparent. And I think you're really doing so great on your channel. And when you finally blow, please don't forget me. When you blow,
yeah. When I got that message from you, I'm like, why is this girl with 30,000 followers at the time messaging me? I think I only had like 3,000 or 4,000 followers. So I was like, this is pretty cool that she's, interested in my work. And I only have, 4,000 subscribers at this time. So, and now you're continuing to blow up. You have close to 80,000 at this point.
Yeah. Yeah. I see the quality and I see the value. It's not like really like how many subscribers you have, because I watched your video, I'm like, wow, the quality, the content, that's it. Wow. And everybody that I have introduced your channel to loves your channel. I did a video recently, I don't know if you saw it, one person commented that, Nanelle, your channel and Nurses to Riches are my favorite nurse channels.
Really?
I don't know if you saw it. I think
that is so cool. Wow, I love that.
Guys, head over to Jason's channel, Nurses to Riches now, and then you understand what I'm saying. Jason, how many years have you been a nurse for? So
I graduated, I believe it was in 2012. So I've been a nurse for 10 years now. And I worked in a telemetry floor for about 1 year, which was a cardiac floor. I did that for about a year. And then I transferred over to an emergency department. So I've been in the emergency department for close to about 9 years now.
And what is your net worth now?
Okay, my net worth is $632,555 at the moment. But you know what, Nanelle, we weren't at this point before the pandemic. Before the pandemic, we were like negative numbers almost, because my wife and I, we were living paycheck to paycheck. And in New York, we were earning a decent wage, but the cost of living was just enormous in New York. That's why we ended up moving to California, because in New York, we were earning something like $47 per hour each, but we were paying for a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom apartment. It was about $2,750 per month for a 2-bedroom. And it was about 800 square feet. So it was pretty small. And it was me, my wife, and our daughter. We were living in that apartment. And we told ourselves, we need something bigger. We want to own a home. And that was almost impossible for us in New York with the amount of money that we were earning. Although, I mean, we could have settled for an old home, a very small old home, but we didn't want that. We wanted something big that we can grow into, and we didn't have to worry about moving out of after a couple of years. And when we moved to California, it's funny. I don't know if you heard the story, but I had a coworker that used to work with us in New York, and he moved to California first. And he told me he wanted us to come and visit him because he wanted to talk to us about where he worked. We came over here, we visited him, and I was under the impression that he was renting an apartment with him, his wife, and his 3 kids. When we came to visit him, we went to the address and we saw there was like an enormous house that we pulled up to. And we're like, is he renting this house? So we went we knocked on the door and we're like, oh, hey, I don't want to say his name, but I'm like, hey, so-and-so, are you renting this house? What are you doing here? He's like, oh man, I forgot to tell you, we just bought this house a couple of months ago. They
Wow.
had only been in California for less than 8 months before they purchased a brand new construction. And the house is about 4,000 square feet. I don't know what that is in meters. You can convert it, but it's an enormous home, and it's the most beautiful home I have ever seen in my life. I tell this to
Wow.
everybody. I don't even joke when I say this. My wife says the same thing. The aesthetic of their home is beautiful. And they have 5 bedrooms, I think 3.5 bathrooms. They have a swimming pool. They have a walk-in closet that is the
All
size of
on
a
the nurse
master
salary.
on a
The
nurse's
nurse's
salary.
salary. Wow.
Yes. And they have a walk-in closet that felt like a department store. That's how big. And that was enough to convince me and my wife to file an application so we can get endorsed to be able to work as nurses in California. And, and then we had a long conversation with him. He told us about how much nurses earn at his hospital, because every hospital pays differently here in California and in the rest of the United States. It's not like in the UK. It's more transparent in the UK. You know how much you earn
Yeah.
across the
Yeah.
board. But
Yeah.
here it's hard because they don't display that anywhere online, on on a state website or on a federal website. So,
Okay.
it's very difficult, which is why, again, I get back to the issue of, I wish this information was available for everybody to see.
How much do you
Yeah.
earn now per hour?
So I earn 96.10 per hour, and Monica, she earns $118.10 per hour.
For those who don't know, Monica is Jason's wife, and she's
Yes.
also a nurse.
Yeah. So, but when I was in New York, again, I was making half of what I currently make. Right. In New York, the cost of living is more than it is where we currently live in Sacramento.
Oh, really?
Yes, it is. I think it's something like almost 1.5 times more expensive to live in than it is here in Sacramento. So the house that we currently own here would cost us maybe like $3-4 million in New York City, and we actually purchased it for $697,000 here, but it's now worth $1 million.
I see. You're gonna get me footage for B-roll for your house,
Yeah,
because
for sure.
please ask Monica if I should find
Yeah.
myself in the US, if I'm
Yeah.
able to come to California. I actually
Yeah.
want to have a house tour for people to see, to
Yeah.
inspire people, because there's so many nurses here. Like, most of my viewers are immigrant nurses
Yeah.
in the UK, and there are so many of them that actually wanted to go to the US, first of all, but the process, the NCLEX process and all that was too lengthy. So they
Yeah.
decided to come here, and then when they get here, proceed. But most of them come here and they settle and they forget about the American dream.
Mhm.
But we need to let them know that, honestly, if you compare the benefits of being a nurse in America, it's way more. It looks like we are really good in here.
And I don't know if you guys have ratios over there, but the thing I like about California is that we do have very, very strict ratios here. So me working in the emergency department currently, I can't get more than 4 patients here. On top of that, let's say I have a patient that has to be restrained. That is a 1-to-1, meaning I will not have any more patients because I have a patient that's currently restrained. If I have an ICU patient, and I have 2-3 other medical patients, they will take my 3 medical patients and hand them off to another nurse, and I will keep my ICU patient. Yeah. So, and that's why, I love California. The benefits for employees here in California are amazing. It's unlike any other state, which is why so many nurses keep coming to California. But again, we still have a nursing shortage here in California. So no, regardless of how many people I get to move to California, there's still going to be jobs available.
Wow.
The sad part is well, I can't say the sad part. So this past year, we've been traveling a lot, which is why our net worth has been kind of, stagnant for the last couple of months, because we've spent a lot of money on traveling. I don't know if you saw, we went to the Maldives. That was like
yeah.
$15,000 on that trip. That's very expensive.
Wow.
Yeah. So at this point, we have no debt still. We never carry a balance on our credit cards. So when we do want to go on vacation, Monica makes sure she picks up ours, because she's the one that wants to go on vacation more than I do, because I'm the one about, I want to invest the money. But I look at it this way, as long as she's happy and she wants to pick up those extra hours so we can do what she wants to do, then I'm okay with it, because it's not coming out of our regular paycheck. It's just coming out of the extra overtime that she puts in.
So what's the most you've come home with in a month?
Oh, man. Okay, so let's see. I pulled that up recently. It was something like $30,000 after taxes, because here, they deduct federal taxes, state income tax. Yeah.
In a month, Jason.
Yeah,
That's
in a month.
someone's annual salary in the UK.
Yeah, I know. You are right. I didn't think about that.
Yes.
That's
Because
very
my
true.
current job is supposed to be one of the highest paying. My annual is £35,000.
Wow.
So
That
she
is so sad, Nanelle. Oh my
yeah,
God.
yeah. My mom works in a those health facilities. She's not like
Yeah.
a proper nurse in
Yeah.
Virginia. I don't know how they call it. Is it LPNs or whatever?
Yeah,
And
it's an LPN.
she makes way more than I do.
Really?
A registered nurse, yes. And she is in America. And I, as a
Wow.
registered nurse, she makes way more than me. So she's always
Yeah.
saying, please write the exams and then come to the US. But my problem is,
Yeah.
I look at raising kids in the US, I look at the gun violence in the US,
Oh,
I
yeah.
look at safety, and I'm like, is it really worth it? What would you say?
Yeah, I will say this. When we lived in New York City, we actually felt safer than we do in Sacramento. And I tell that to a lot of people. Yeah. And the reason for that is because the budget for the police department here in Sacramento is not as high as it is for the police department in New York City. In New York City, the budget is something like 5 billion, 6 billion US dollars. Here, it's, I think, last time I checked, it was something like 300 million to 500 million. It's not that high. So if you do need the police to come to your home because of an intruder or something like that, it can take them, up to an hour just to come. And sometimes they might not even show up. Like, we've had our car broken into a couple of times.
I saw it. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but, I don't want to discourage you, because it's not like that everywhere in the US at all. So you have to be very selective about where you choose to move to if you're looking for safety. There's a lot of states that we've been to where we felt extremely safe. And, when you're in a big city, you're more likely to run into a lot of crime. And unfortunately, that's what you notice a lot. And I think it's because you'll see a more diverse group of people. It's a larger group of people. So you're going to see people from all walks of life, all levels of income, very poor people, all the way up to like very wealthy individuals. And because there's such a high density of a population, crime is going to be more prominent in those areas. But if you go to the more rural areas, and I remember you had a guest in one of your shows who was from Rhode Island. Rhode Island is relatively safe overall, but again, the main cities in Rhode Island are pretty unsafe, and it goes for every single city. So what you can do is you can work in one of the big cities and just, move out, like directly outside of these big cities. And it can be 20, 30 minutes away from the big city. And you're going to feel very safe where you live. And your kids will feel, they can walk to school, they can ride their bikes to school, and it'll be okay. I'll give you an example. So we're in Sacramento. Roseville is where we moved to initially. Now, Roseville is very safe. It's 25 minutes away from Sacramento. But it was too boring for us. we like a lot of activity. We like, parks. We like recreational things. And you don't get that much in Roseville. I mean, it's closer to the mountains, and there's a shopping mall. It's a very huge shopping mall, and that's where everybody goes to spend their day. But when we're coming from New York City, where it's one of the biggest cities in the United States, and you're able to do anything you want, and you actually don't have to spend money to enjoy yourself in New York City. You can just walk to the parks. You can, walk across the Brooklyn Bridge. There's just so many things to do. And that's kind of what we wanted. And that's why we moved to Sacramento. But again, you have to be, it's like you got to weigh your options. Do you want to, yeah. And my daughter, she enjoys it here more also, because she's able to, hang out with her friends. They're close by. She can take the bus. She can take the train.
Another thing is, in the UK, right, healthcare is like almost free, sort of.
Yeah.
Like, I recently had a baby and I didn't pay a penny, nothing at all. And in the US, I know it's not like that. I know Monica just had a baby. How much did you spend for the whole
Okay.
like labor and delivery? How much did you have to spend?
$0. Zero. Yeah.
Really?
And yeah, again, California. That's what I'm saying. As an employee, if you move to the state of California, you'll have this. California is rated #1 of all of the 50 states when it comes to employee rights, paternity and maternity leave. Just anything you can think of that benefits an employee, California will be #1. That's why we chose this place to move to. So when she did take the maternity leave, she was gone for about 5 months in total from work, and she was paid the entire time. And
Wow.
I believe she was earning, don't quote me on this, but it was about $2,500 every 2 weeks, something like that. So it's close to what she would have been making if she were working, let's say, 3 days a week at work. And she was able to do that for 5 months. And
Wow.
then on top of that, me as a father, I was able to take almost 3 months off from work. But with the way that my schedule works, I stretched it out. I was gone just as long as she was.
Okay.
So we were both gone for 5 months, and I was getting paid almost the entire time. There were 4 weeks where I didn't get paid, but I was able to use some of my vacation leave to cover that.
How about that? Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
is this because, aside the fact that you're in California, is it
Yeah.
also because you have insurance?
Yeah.
That's why you
Um,
can't pay anything.
Yeah, you actually don't even need to have health insurance in California in order for that to be covered, because that's provided to you by the state disability program. It's a disability leave, and on top of that, it's like an unemployment leave, something similar to that. But the state will provide you with some of the funds, and the federal government as well. So that's part of it. But let's say I didn't have that at all. My insurance will cover me in case I become ill. And my insurance only costs me about $78 every 2 weeks.
Okay.
And that $78 is actually my union dues. So we have unions in some hospitals in the US, not all, but the
Okay.
hospitals that do, when you pay your union dues, many hospitals, well, the unions are the ones that bargain your benefits.
Okay.
They go to your employer and they tell them, this is what our members want, our nurses, and this is what we're willing to take. You can't get any lower than that. So our union bargained our health insurance, our dental insurance, our paid time off, our sick leave, our 401k matching, our pension, all those things you can possibly think of that are benefits to an employee, that was bargained by our union. So at the end of the day, we pay these union dues. It covers all of that. It encompasses all of that. So we're
Wow.
basically paying $78, not just for our health insurance, our dental insurance. We're paying $78 every 2 weeks for everything.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sometimes we watch one video of,
Mhm.
let's say, a nurse somewhere in this part of the US, and then we conclude and we generalize that it's for
Yeah.
like the whole of the US. So it's really good that like you are educating us on this. Was this the same case when you were in New York?
Yeah. So in New York, we had a different union. Actually, every hospital that I've worked in has a union. And I do that for a reason. It's because I don't want to pay out of pocket for health insurance. So if you don't work for a hospital that has a union, then it's likely going to be the employer that's going to offer you some options for health insurance. And in some cases, you might be paying, let's say, $300 a month to anywhere up to $800 a month for health insurance for your entire family. And I wasn't willing to do that. So in New York, our employer had a union that was tied to it. And we paid about $100 to $110 every 2 weeks for all of those benefits that include health insurance, dental insurance, and everything else.
Wow.
The downside of unions, I made a video about is that sometimes you're working at a union where you might not be satisfied with all of the benefits that they offer, and you cannot negotiate those benefits with your employer because the union is the one that negotiates the benefits.
So I know Monica, your wife, is also a nurse. So what is
Monica, come over here. She's actually over here.
She's
Monica.
so beautiful. She's so good.
She was actually just walking over here. I don't know if she went upstairs.
I'll put a picture of her. She's so good.
Okay. Okay.
So what is your average household income?
Okay.
Being this, yeah.
Per month or per year?
Per month. per month?
Okay. So this it fluctuates every year because some years will work more than others. This year, I've only been working like 20 hours a week. I've been so lazy. I did not want to pick up any shifts because at the beginning of the year, I felt like I worked too much. And by too much, I mean like maybe 30 hours a week or 32 hours a week. That's too much in my opinion. So, and that extra time that I would have worked would have been overtime. So if I work normally, my baseline is 20 hours a week and I pick up an additional 10 hours, that would only be extra 10 hours of overtime. So I'd be paid time and a half or double time. So this year we made about $17,000 on average every month, and that's after our taxes. So that's what we bring home, $17,000 a month. 2 years ago, we were picking up a lot more hours, and we earned about $19,000 per month. And that's when we were trying to pay off all of the debt that we had accumulated over the years. Again, I don't know if you saw a video, but we paid off over $128,000 of debt in 1 year because we were afraid we were going to lose our jobs during the pandemic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, you've done so well. Do you have other sources of income?
Okay, so our investments are one aspect of it. But before I started this YouTube channel, I used to drop ship. I don't know if you know what that is. When I was drop shipping, it took me a while to figure out which product to sell, but I managed to find a product that was very marketable, and I was earning at least like $2,000 to $3,000 a week doing that.
As profits?
Yes, as profit. At the moment, last year I started the YouTube channel with my goal of making that an investment so that I can turn it into a business and then use the earnings from my YouTube channel to reinvest it. Like I want to, purchase an Airbnb, a short-term rental. We want to do that a couple of times so we can have at least like 10 Airbnbs. We also I want to get back into drop shipping, but I want to turn it into a brand. Monica and I, we had a discussion yesterday and we're thinking about an idea, and soon enough, we're going to like build a website and start testing some products first through drop shipping. If they're successful, then we're going to purchase those products in wholesale and we're going to put them in our home and we're going to package them up and send them out to our customers that way.
Wow.
So,
wow, you are very ambitious, and then you have knowledge on wealth creation and all. So for those who don't know what dropshipping is, let me see if I can explain. So it's basically, let's say Jason, like he said, he would create a website about this massager he said he was selling, and then he would post pictures on this website about the massager, blah, blah, blah. But he will not really have the massager in stock. So what he does is he'll look for that massager company somewhere, let's say in China or wherever. And then you will see Jason's adverts on Facebook, and then you think, oh, it's a good product. So you buy it. But when you input your details on Jason's website, the massager website, he will transfer your details to the original company in China that makes the product.
yes.
So that company will ship to you directly wherever you are. But you bought from Jason. So like Jason is the middleman. He does the advert, he creates the website, make it attractive for you to buy. But he actually doesn't have the product. He's shipping from China directly from the company. So the benefit is you don't need loads of money to like get the inventory. He has to obviously use money for the advertisements and all that. And people make like massive profit, because if he bought, let's say, the massager from China for, let's say, $10, and then he sells it for $20, the remaining $10 is for Jason. I hope you guys understand. So that's basically what dropshipping is. Doing so well, like you are very ambitious. You're gonna hit 1 million very soon, and I will be here to interview you the next year.
Nanelle, I'll tell you this: it's running this YouTube channel is a lot more work for me than running that drop shipping business. I could have restarted a drop shipping business a year ago, and I'd probably be making $30,000 to $40,000 a month right now doing that. But I love spreading knowledge, and because I am a nurse, I feel like I'm more able to I have a bigger voice in this field because I've been doing it for 10 years. But with the drop shipping thing, I'll get to that eventually, but I feel like maybe I can turn into something bigger than just a YouTube channel, which is why I have my website. And eventually I want to build an app so that nurses can use, to like communicate with each other. And I'll keep that on the down low for now.
You're too smart. You have so many ideas. Jason, I
Yeah.
want to be your friend, please.
I know.
I want to be your friend.
Nanelle, you need to create another video of how much you've made on your YouTube channel so far, because I love those videos. I really do. And I'm sure. Yeah.
Maybe I will do that at the end of the year. Oh, hello, baby.
Look, Keon, look at yourself.
What's his name?
Keon.
Keon, hello.
Yeah.
So I forgot to ask you. You work in the A&E, right? How many hours a day do you do?
Oh, in the ER? Yes.
Yeah.
So I work 20 hours a week, but I work 8 hours a day.
Okay.
So the thing about, again, California, if you work more than 8 hours in one day, they give you time and a half, up to 12 hours of work. After the 12th hour, if you stay, they give you 2 times your regular pay. So I could be earning $200 per hour after my 12th hour of work. So that's why when I do pick up overtime, I try to do at least a 12-hour shift, because for an extra 4 hours, I can get time and a half, which is the equivalent of like 6 hours of regular pay, right? And Monica does that often also. So Monica, she'll work the days that I don't work though. And she's been picking up a lot of shifts. So like this year, she's been doing an average of anywhere from 3 to 4, sometimes 5 days a week. So she's going to be at over $200,000 by the end of this year because of the amount of work that she's put in. But again, we've taken so much time off to go on vacation this year. We've taken a total of like 3 months this year.
Wow.
Just like, yeah, maybe more. Actually, it's more than that. But, she's still able to push through $200,000 for the year.
Wow. So Jason, aside California, if I'm a nurse in the UK and I'm thinking of moving to the US, aside California, which other states would you recommend?
Yeah, so a lot of people think about states like Texas okay, I made a video talking about the top paying states, and Alaska was actually one of them. Nevada, I believe, is in there. Nevada doesn't have state income tax. So the money that you earn, the state doesn't tax it. But they earned their money in other ways in the state by like increasing the sales tax. So like when you go purchase something, the tax is going to be a little bit higher. And there's other ways that they can earn that. But overall, your cost of living is going to be lower in Nevada. And the earnings for a nurse is actually relatively high. It's not the highest, but it's relatively high. So Nevada is one of the states. But Nevada can get really hot. The temperatures are extremely hot. I think it's like 40 degrees Celsius or something, like in the summer on average, something like that. Yeah, like upwards of that. And same thing though for where we're at in Sacramento, California. It can get upwards of that too. But then on the East Coast, there's states that pay really well, but the cost of living is really high. Massachusetts pays really well. Where else? Yeah, Massachusetts is actually really up there, and Connecticut. But you can move to those states, and again, you can move into a more suburban area. Yeah. Okay. And your cost of living will be lower. Those states over there, like Massachusetts and Connecticut, they're relatively safe. Also, like Rhode Island is relatively safe, and they're very beautiful states to move to. Virginia is it's a beautiful state too. Like you have Virginia Beach over there. And there's like Myrtle Beach down south, like further down. And then you can drive to all of the other states. They're like pretty close distance. So like you can go to Delaware, Maryland and New York, and they're not too far away. New Jersey. The thing I loved about the East Coast is that you can drive up and down the East Coast and see every single state. There's like, 20 states that you can see on your drive up and down Northeast coast, north and south. But on the West Coast, you only have California, Oregon, and Washington. Okay. So like California on its own is the same distance as almost like New York to Florida. It's that big. But the thing that we enjoyed about living in California is that we can drive all the way up to Canada, but we enjoy snowboarding. So that's why we'll drive up to Canada and we'll go snowboarding in the winter. And then another thing about the West Coast is that it's closer to Hawaii. So if you want to travel to Hawaii, then it's like 300 US dollars from Sacramento to Hawaii, which is
Oh.
why we've been there so often. You know, we've been there like 5 times already.
So what are your plans going forward? What plans do you have for your nursing career?
So I actually made a video recently talking about how I'm burned out from working in the ER. It takes a toll on you, especially over the last year, you know, the last 2 years because of COVID. I feel like we've really truly got to understand what, you know, the population is like, especially here in the US. They were very anti, you know, masks. They didn't want to wear their masks in the hospitals. Many of the patients that would come in, they would fight with the nurses over it. Many of them didn't want us to give them the treatment that we felt that they needed to receive. Working in the ER, you see a very big population of psychiatric patients and a big population of geriatric patients, so the older population. And it seems like RER has only been that for the last year or so. And it's gotten pretty tiring, you know. So I was going to apply to a PACU position, which is a, you know, a post-acute care recovery unit, something like that. I was going to apply to one of those, but then I told myself, you know, I have so much flexibility working in the ER. I can work 20 hours a week, earn a good living, but if I want to pick up extra hours, I can do that easily in the ER because I can come at any time of the day because they need nurses 24/7 in the ER. It's not necessarily the same thing when you're working in the PACU. So I'm going to stick around in the ER for at least another 2 years or so. But my goal is that by this time next year, my YouTube channel will be earning about $2,000 per month. And then in another year from that, so like 3 years from the moment I started my YouTube channel, I'm hoping it's going to be $5,000 a month. And then when I get to that point, I'm going to be thinking about giving up my job completely so I can just focus on YouTube and growing the business of Nurses to Riches.
Wow. We'll be here to see all that happen. Yeah. Thank you
Thanks.
so much. Thank you so much. Your
course.
final words.
You know what? I want everybody who's not following Nanelle to follow her right now, like subscribe to her channel because I love her content.
Thank you.
And if you guys are looking to know more about nursing in the United States, or you're looking to know about what nursing is like in California specifically, then go ahead and follow my channel, Nurses to Riches, because I put out a lot of content that's going to help you guys out if you don't know what it's like over here.
Thank you so much. And it was such a privilege to have you here. Yeah.
Awesome. All right, Nanelle. Great. Bye.
Bye.